Hello, love. We're live, in it. You tuned into another podcast, the only sports podcast with brains and bars. It's a black and white thing. All right, that's about as far as I go with the accent. I'm pretty sure it was pretty shaky ground anyway. Yo, what's good, everybody, man? It's another episode of the only sports podcast of brains and bars. It's a black and white thing featuring A1 and A Ward. You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, wherever you get the good podcast. Give us 5 stars. Leave a comment. Talk to us. We talk back. You can also check us out here live on YouTube by searching Brains and Bars. Give us 5 stars. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like, all that good stuff. And again, you can talk to us there as well. Also live on Facebook, on my personal page, as well as the fan page. You can find that by searching Brains and Bars, and then Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all search at Brains and Bars. And I'm not here by myself doing this. I have a million view battler here. I have a guy who's done like 340 something rounds, 18 million minutes. He claims he's only lost 4 of those, although DNA 2-1. I got my guy A Ward in the building. Let me get it right. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot. Yeah. 122 wins, 4 losses. It's rough out here. No debaltables. All clear wins.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that's battle rap. You never lose one clearly. You always win.
Ever.
And it's always a 30. It's always, how'd you do against him? Oh, I did him bad. Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up, man. Fresh off of the URL debut, Summer Madness 15 in London versus T-Top. First of all, I'm always plugging his work. Shout out to the homie 3 Letterman. But if you haven't had an opportunity to check out that piece of content, go check it out, because there's a good discussion there. I haven't gotten through. I think I got like 8 minutes left. Hadn't gotten through the whole thing, but good discussion there. Go check that out. But how do you feel? We'll just start there. How do you feel? Summer Madness debut, stepping on that URL stage, man. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel really good, man. Very, very good. Obviously, there's a lot that went into getting there, to getting Summer Madness debut. And then once they announced it, I had made mention in the interviews before, like, being mentioned with the types of names like the Mooks and Lux and Pat Stays and different guys that have made their debuts on Summer Madness. It's like, yo, that's cool being mentioned there, but I got to go out and show that I belong. You know what I mean? Show that it wasn't just a fluke. And so, man, I'm just very, very, very encouraged. The event was great. You were out there with me. That was the second time I've been to Steel Yard. Second time I performed on that stage. It was electric. That crowd is always electric, man. Anytime I've ever gone to the UK, man, the crowd is just one of the best crowds easily. So, going into it, I wondered if there was going to be any nerves that I don't normally get. If there was going to be any, like, I don't know, if it was going to feel just any kind of different than normally when I go to an event and perform on a stage or whatever. And it didn't. It really didn't. If there was anything that was different, I think it was probably the process of writing, getting there. Just kind of wanting to make sure that everything material-wise and content-wise is, fit for that stage, fit for the debut. But, battle happened. I went against T-Top, which, going into the battle, a lot of people had, him winning. A lot of people had me winning. It was a pretty, highly regarded battle between 2 guys. And to come out with a clear win and what I would consider to be like a really, really good performance. And I know that in the building, the crowd was rocking with it heavy. I definitely feel really good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dope event. There's like a little feedback. Do you hear that?
Yeah, yeah. It's a little clicking. I think it might be my headphones. Give me a second.
Yep. So I'll while you work on that, I'll take over ISO. So I'll say this. Super dope to be out in London. Super dope to my first time ever visiting the city. I enjoyed myself. I had a great time. I'll say this: London was the best battle rap crowd I have ever been a part of. We went to T Top's event, shot at Straight Drop Media, by the pound, US versus UK. Incredible, incredible, incredible event. Um, like the crowd, you didn't have to tell them to be quiet a whole bunch of times. When it was time to rap, they quieted down, they listened. And I've never seen a battle rap crowd at that steel yard of that size. They weren't jumping too early for punches. You didn't have to tell them to hold it down in the back, hold it down by the bar, and listen. If you were in there, right, like that, it's like underground. It's underground. There's a whole other side of that place that has like a bar, and it was loud by that bar. They had an upstairs spot for the artists. It was loud up there, but that sound never filtered over into the stage area so people could hear. I put out a tweet that said, "Look, I would be if you could somehow import that London crowd to every big event. You would win me over. That's how much I enjoyed watching, listening, being a part of that crowd, right? And it also helped when London references or British references were made to have a quick translator to break it down. Being new to the soccer scene, there were a lot of soccer references. I got the majority of them. Some of them I didn't. Or shout out to Shoddy Horror, turn a Crip Walker to a Walker's Crisp. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I was excited. I got the reference. I was right there with it. You know what I'm saying? And so super dope time. I can't wait to go back to London. Hopefully next time I'll be able to stay a little bit longer. But super dope event, man. Shout out to URL. Shout out to all the battlers. Some of my personal favorites, obviously yours. Fonz's second round of Tay Rock was crazy. Shoddy Horror was dope. Lux, Twerk had some good moments, but Lux was Lux. He was incredible. So yeah. I would like to ask you this because again, after watching the 3 Letterman interview, knowing what you know now, would you have done anything different from a writing standpoint, in particular with the amount that you wrote?
It's weird because I wrote longer rounds, but I don't feel like that there was any like really dry spots. What I do feel like is that 2 rounds were much better than 1 round, right? So like, if I was to say like, hey, I could go in and change it from 4.5-minute rounds to 3.5-minute rounds and cut out some of the filler, you know what I mean, and try to jam pack them a little bit better to make them 3 like very, But at the end of the day, my opponent rapped, 10-minute rounds, and so it's like, why am I shortening my 4.5 when he's rapping so much? I don't know that he's gonna. Like, I wrote long rounds because I anticipated that, and I was right. I didn't know his rounds, his second and third, were going to be such duds. You know what I mean? Like, in hindsight's 2020 or whatever. But I don't think I would have wrote, any more. Obviously, I do think that there, because I chose to go over 4 minutes on all the rounds, that 1 round, the one that I wrote the most recent, or the one that I finished basically Friday, before the battle, it was just, to me, like my first and third were like 9s, like 9, like, damn near like a perfect award round, right? That's how I felt. First and thirds were like 9s. And like, I thought like the second round was like a 7.5, like an 8. Like, I like the material. I don't ever write anything I don't ever say anything that I don't like. You know what I mean? I just think that there wasn't a theme to it. There was no cohesiveness. It was really just kind of like punchline, punchline, punchline. Oh, here's a nice gun bar that I thought of. Oh, Here's a line about him being sloppy. Here's a line about all this. It didn't really have the like the first and third had great beginnings and great endings. You know what I mean? Like they came full circle. And the second didn't really have that. So but ultimately though, I mean, I thought that I had three really solid rounds, two great rounds and a really good round.
So let me ask you this, because I guess I'll save my comment until after I get your response. But the editing process as a battler, right? Whether it is 2-minute rounds, 3-minute rounds, or 4-minute rounds, obviously that's going to look differently the more time you have to write. But within this particular battle, knowing that you were having longer rounds than you were used to, was there anything in that editing process of, I like this, but I don't like it enough to add it into the round, right? Or take away? Was there any of that went into crafting your material for T-Top?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a lot of stuff. I mean, that didn't make the cut just because it was just like not as good as the other stuff, or I don't want to harp on that angle too much. I didn't really. I knew London received some jokes well, but I didn't want to go in there and like just make fun of his weight over and over and over and over. But I did have a line or two that was like a nice little jab or whatever every round. But most of the time, any of the weight jokes like were within the context of a different angle or something to that extent. So I would take lines and I would write them. I'd write punchlines. I'd think of angles and I'd say to myself like, "Oh, I'm thinking about using this angle. Well, how long does it take me to execute that angle? How many punchlines can I get off of that angle? And is there one big one?" Like, that's really what it is with me. It's like, yo, if I want to take this, let's say I want to take the Jesus is Black angle, which I would consider, okay, I can angle back on him on the Jesus is Black thing that he talked to Loso about. How long is it going to take me to communicate what I need to communicate? And are there enough, two nice punchlines and one culminating big punchline to bring it home, And when I can't get there, or when I'm like, oh, this is 45 seconds, 60 seconds, is it worth this not hitting and me having a minute of, you know what I mean? Then it's scrapped, And so that happened a lot in the process with, different angles I thought about using on him. I would get there and be like, okay, it's 49 seconds. This is too long for, just this one punch or just whatever it may be, And see, that's where he didn't do, like that's what T-Top didn't do in his writing process. He had so much going on. He battled the week before. He had an event he threw the week before. He had a lot of stuff going on, or he had an event he threw the night before. He battled the week before in Houston. He put on Culture Fest, not Holy Culture Fest. That's funny. But put on Culture Fest. And, so he told me he was done writing like almost 2 weeks before the battle. And it's just wild to me that like you have all that going on. And I would argue that he wrote 20 minutes of material,
which is impressive, at least with considering everything he had going on to write and then memorize that.
Yeah, I think it's impressive that he memorized 20 minutes of material. I don't think it's impressive that he wrote 20 minutes of material. I could sit here and write right now on my laptop. I could literally start writing and write 20 minutes of material in 30 minutes. But is it going to be good? It's going to rhyme. I can. So yeah. So I think that with T-Top, he didn't do that. He didn't go in and edit any of that, and that worked against him. And I don't think anytime anybody thought my rounds were too long. I think the consensus was, and kind of what I was telling, I think it was Loso on the phone yesterday, and somebody else. I come out, I go first. I have a great round, right? Boom, we're off to a good start. He comes out and he has a great first maybe 4 or 5 minutes of his first round. After that, basically the rest of his first round, my second round, and his second round is probably 25 minutes of real time.
Right.
Yeah. Until we get to the top of my third, which is another great round. So there's a 25-minute, and I'm not saying my second was bad. It just it wasn't enough to be like, oh, we back, the energy's back. All right, everything's back through the roof. So after he starts telling off in the first, you got about 20 to 25 minutes of this is kind of lulling me to sleep, and I think that that's what made it a tough watch as far as the totality of the battle, is that in the middle of that, then you get back to my third and you're like, oh, this is a great round, but are fans still there? Are they still watching? Are we still, what I mean? And then, his third is another kind of dud. So I'm not mad at people saying like they expected more out of the battle. But I firmly believe that, and I said this, I mean, that was a B+ to A- performance from me. And people might say, well, it's your UA debut. You're supposed to be on A+. We never know what we're going to be on, like if you're a chef, right, and you cook something and you taste it and you're like, oh, that tastes perfect. And then you feed it to somebody, like they might be like, yo, this is terrible. And you're like, you don't know food. You know what I mean? Like, or this is not it. Like, it's like, no, this is exactly what, well, like I can't, the way a fan or somebody receives it, watching it through the camera or watching it, on pay-per-view, I can't tell you. I can tell you that the material I wrote, I was writing for A+ Ward, the way it was received or the way it came through your speakers and how you determined it is what, people might say, like, we expected more of you. It's like, nah, I mean, you got 4-minute rounds and you got, you go back on paper and you and I read you or write, tell you what I said. It's creative and it's dope,
Yeah. So I think a couple of things. I do wonder, because T-Top had everything going on with the event. I forgot about him rapping the week before. I do think that there probably wasn't. It was just like whatever's on the page is on the page, and it is what it is. I think that's number one. I was talking with Titus. I think after you got done, after that battle was over, because I was a little taken back by the underwhelming on the battle, because like you said, in the building, the crowd, even T-Top's, granted, he didn't get as much love as second and third, but the crowd was engaged. They were responding. When they liked it, they were quiet.
Absolutely.
If they didn't like it. And so like the energy in the building did not feel like the response I was reading online. So I hit up Titus and I said, listen, I said, respectfully, if a battler feels like they need to write double or triple, in this case, your opponent, you got to question if your material, one, is your material good enough? Are you good enough? Because you should be able to rap around the same time as your opponent and prove the separation within that time. If you write 4 and he writes 8 and someone goes, well, T-Top got the first because he rapped longer. Okay, but was it 8 quality minutes or was it 3 quality minutes and then 8 of mid? Because at a certain point, I got to start penalizing you as a listener if it's not good. Because just think about how many, like musically, if you think about a song, right? A song in the old days when there was 3 16-bar verses and 3 16-bar hooks, right? We're talking about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. How many albums do you listen to where you could say an artist had 3 16-bar verses or maybe 2 24s, and every time it's no skips, it's fire every time. At some point, there's a verse that you're not in love with. There's a song you're not in love with. So the fact that you're going to rap basically 3 songs worth of material in one round, it better be fire. And if it's not, I gotta start deducting you from the point to where it is trash. And so listen, artists, y'all do y'all thing. Y'all talk to each other before these battles. Y'all talk about time limits. If the time limit is 3:30 with a 30-second grace period or 3 minutes with a 30-second grace period, rap to that. Your material will be better for it. And if you are dope enough, you will be able to defeat or win a round based off the content that you create in that 3 minutes. Rapping 5 minutes, to me, as a fan, when trying to pick a winner or a loser, unless you're dropping Loaded Lux third rounds to Calico every time you rap over the time limit, I'm going to start deducting if it's not heat. Like I can't just sit here and just let you go over the time limit and be like, well, oh, you won that first because he rapped longer. Well, what are we doing here? So I think that's number one. I just think he never self-edited, and if you have to rap that much longer, and I also think part of the reason he rapped that much longer I think he was trying to overwhelm you with content. So I think he maybe in his mind he felt like the second and third wasn't his best stuff, and so he needed like a KO round, similar to what he did with Nitty. Now I don't think he wrapped that third with Nitty with the self checkout angle. I don't think he wrapped crazy overtime on that one, but I do think the angle was so effective. I had Nitty winning that battle 2-1. I thought Nitty got the first and second clear, but that third was so effective that a lot of people ended up swaying towards T-Top won that battle, which I disagree with. And so I just think that maybe in his mind he goes, okay, if I rap twice as long as he does, and if people really love what I'm kicking, then it'll overwhelm maybe what he does in the second round, and people might go, well, T-Top 2-1. His first was so powerful it counts as 2 rounds. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on that particular subject.
At the end of the day, I mean, I knew he was going to rap long. I didn't know how long. I'm trying to get this my camera thing. My bad. I didn't know how long. And everybody I talked to, URL contract says 3 minutes, 3:30 grace. Most people know that. They're not stopped calling time, whatever. Everybody I talked to before the battle was like, "Yo, you better write 5-minute rounds, or you better write 5-minute rounds." And I'm like, "No," you know what I mean? I already don't want to write 4.5-minute rounds. The only reason I'm okay with writing a 4.5-minute first round, which is what I wrote, was because I knew that I was going to have a couple words for Smack, URL. So I knew that, 30 to 40 seconds of that was just going to be themed there. And, I was just like, well, if I go first, I won't get the rebuttal. So I'll go ahead and make it a little longer. After that, everything was just 4 minutes. And I'm just like, I told so many people in the writing process, I did not enjoy trying to write over 12 minutes of material, Now, that's just because of the opponent. Honestly, I might run across an opponent one day where I'm like, yo, I got a lot to say, whenever, if ever, me and Twerk end up locking in, I'm pretty sure since I've already written 6 rounds of material, that there's probably going to be a lot that I want to say or I have to say, but for T-Top, he's T-Top, he's an angler. All of his angles and everything are semi-redundant, so you have to find ways to put different spins on them. There's not anything that's popped up that I'm the first one to get a hold of type stuff. And so that's why I thought he was going to write long rounds, because he had all the fresh angles. He had all of the, yo, it's your first time on URL. Yo, I can talk about this, this, and this. And he took none of them. He took old, terrible angles. And that was what shocked the mess out of me, is I'm sitting here thinking okay, all he's got to do is pull out a long scroll and say, these are all the tweets that you've said about URL Smack, whatever, how the app is this, the whatever,
So similar to what you did to Real Sick in his first, right? And your first to Real Sick, where you were like, yo, somebody said this. Oh, that's what you said about this league, and now you're here.
Yeah. And so I'm just there's so much he could have done, man. There's so much. And honestly, it's a little frustrating because it's I wanted him to go ahead and get them all done, So now my next URL battle, there's still these angles that are still fresh that could be used. You know what I mean? But the angles that he chose to go with were just I'm really? And like I told many people, it's yo, he's considered to be a top angler, and he picked angles that I was just this is ridiculous, and then he didn't even execute them, and so it was just odd.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things I want to talk about this battle, and then we can talk about what other performances you like that you saw. Shout out to Eunice and Arsenal. Eunice and Arsenal, really good back and forth, by the way. I didn't mention that set off the night. Shout out to both of them. So we're backstage getting ready to, before we go up. And see, I try to be a good friend. You look at T-Top and you go, what's the jersey he has on? And I go, oh, it's Arsenal. They're the Gunners. And I'm 99% sure. I'm 99% sure. I'm into EPL. I'm watching it. Shout out to our homie Smurf. Smurf is an Arsenal fan. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure. But even still, I Google it just to give myself that 0.1% of assurance.
You didn't tell me you Googled it, but go ahead, keep going.
I mean, listen, I didn't want to put any doubt in your brain before you go up there. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's Arsenal. It's the Gunners. Of course. It's got the freaking cannon on the crest. It's part of their logo. We get up on stage, and you don't tell me this until after the fact. You go to Gemini and go, what jersey is T-Top? And I'm like, yo, I wouldn't steer you wrong. Like, what the
You
heck?
can't be mad at me though, because you Googled it yourself, so you didn't even believe yourself. So for me to believe you is the same. Gemini was my Google, bro. Gemini was my Google. He was like, yo, I just want to make sure. It's Summer Madness, A1. If I would have freestyled something and got that wrong and you would have told me the wrong name, bro, the conversation we would be having right now would be so different.
I flew all the way to London. I flew 10 hours to be there to support, and he didn't trust my word.
I sure did.
Number two, thank God this didn't happen. I almost choked on my gum. Right when Smack says, first round, it's on A-Ward. I had a mishap, and oh my God, the panic. Now, granted, I wasn't really on camera. Like, real deal.
Right.
Street is in front of me. You can kind of see me depending on the camera angle. But oh my God, my heart was literally in my throat, because that gum was like another inch. There was going to be an international incident on that stage, or someone had to give me the Heimlich to save me, because I almost choked on that gum.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, last thing about the event. What stand out? What performances that you thought were stand out from the night?
Man, I think Eunice just continues to take advantage of every opportunity he's given. He's really, really good. I wish that I could have gotten 2-minute rounds. You know what I mean? Like, I wish that was not the case for my battle, you know. And that's not saying that Eunice needs that or whatever. It's just, it made for a great battle with Arsenal. Arsenal loves that 2-minute spot. And Eunice made the most of his 2 to 2.5 minute rounds. And the back and forth, it was probably the battle of the night. Like, it probably was, outside of maybe, Lux and Twerk, which I still haven't seen that battle in its total. Shani Horde came and did what he was supposed to do as well, you know, and it sucks because, like, that's another case of, like, yo, a highly anticipated debut, Shotty gets a clear win, but most of the conversation is about Geechee basically being the West Coast Charlie Clips, you know, and calling him Charlie Crips and all that, like how he's just freestyling, he's mailing it in or whatever. And it's like, dang, you know, like, it sucks whenever people start looking at your performance on the winning side a certain way because of how bad the losing side was, you know? And so, but shout out to Shotty Horde, because he came in with 3 solid rounds, you know, got busy. As you talked about earlier, Fonz, the second round was crazy. I didn't really, man, after my battle, I didn't really see a lot, honestly. I didn't see a lot. I just was decompressing. I was just kind of like taking it all in. And, you know, I was upstairs a lot. I came downstairs every now and then. I heard bits and pieces. I heard the crowd going crazy. And I think the big thing is just that, man, like, it just didn't translate on cam the way that it did in the venue, like the crowd reaction. You know, if you go to my Instagram and you watch some of the clips that I posted of people in the building, like the pop, the cheers and everything was crazy, you know? You know, I think that, you know, some of that gets lost on the camera, but I mean, that's the nature of all events, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, you know, I thought it was a good Summer Madness, a great crowd. But outside of like Arsenal and Unison, and I guess maybe Twerk and Lux, the other 3 battles had like things missing, you know, like you just didn't get the great back and forth, you know. And that sucks.
I hate Fonz couldn't get through that third, because otherwise that's going to be a really good back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Unison and Ars was good. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, but let me say this. Here's the other part about London that I really enjoy. Obviously, I got a chance to do some sightseeing. What Sunday, the day before. I need to
Mhm.
go back because I only saw like 0.1%. My other part than the battles. My favorite part was the people I got to meet. Got to link up with the homie Smurf for the first time. Got to meet a young man named George. Was super dope. Got to talk football with Tony D. Um,
Man, just a good dude, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my favorite, so people who enjoy English Premier League soccer, you have a bunch of teams you can root for, and I always love telling the story of why I'm a Nottingham Forest fan. And so,
Yeah.
Tony, you tell Tony, yeah, my guy A1's into soccer, man. He's a Nottingham Forest fan. He goes, "What you do that for? Like what? Like that's my favorite. That's the reaction of everybody when I tell them I'm a Nottingham Forest fan."
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it so much. I told Smurf this. I'm like, listen, man, and listen. Shout out to Tony, Bizzo. I mean, Bizzo. Shout out to the By the Pound. A bunch of dope performances there too the night before. Whispers, Bizzo, Rock, Capo. Man, like a bunch of super dope performances.
V
Real deal.
Gotti, Real Deal, Slim Buck, they all, Anderson Burris, Joy.
Joy France. Yeah, absolutely. I told Smurf this, and I'm gonna clip this down and tweet all the UK artists. Me personally, I would be down to find a bunch of battle rap fans who are also EPL fans. Fly to not necessarily London. We could do Liverpool, Manchester, wherever. Fly out for a UK football battle rap weekend where we just have a bunch of watch parties, watch our favorite teams, kick it, hang out, all that good stuff. Because it's one thing for me to be a fan. Like I got American friends here in the States who are football fans. It's dope. The energy is just a little bit different when you're out there and they get to talking about their teams and how passionate they are about it and how into it. I said this when we were out there. I feel like football does its championships better than American sports, right? You have the big championship in your league, but you also have opportunities to win other cups. I really enjoy how they set these things up. And so I would be down UK, US battle rap weekend. If y'all want to battle rap, because that's what y'all do, somebody set that up. That ain't my department. I just want to go watch some games with in England with EPL fans and just take in that atmosphere and soak it all in. So that's my personal thing, goal I would like to set up someday. But shout out to London once again, a great crowd, really dope people. Although
It's funny because how you talk about the crowd for battle rap and how it was just like you're like, yo, I wish I could get that type of crowd in the States. Like that's why I want to go to a EPL game because I wonder if like their sports crowds are even more electric than what we would think like a Chiefs game would be, or you know what I mean? Like if they just enjoy things at a different level than Americans enjoy,
Listen. So Nottingham is in Europa League. They had to go to Seville, Spain. I think it was Seville was the name of the squad they faced. There were scenes of them outside in Seville kicking it. They're singing, they're just having a great time. And like you see that energy like when the World Cup, right? When you get all these countries together and you see how these fans come together and they are just like, it is like a tailgate on steroids, right? They got their local foods, they got their local customs, they got their songs they're singing. And yes, the energy inside. I mean, we went to when Uruguay played the US, right? And you just see we were both shocked at just how many Uruguayan, hopefully I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Fans showed up in the building. I'm like, yo, do they all live in America and they just all came to Kansas City, or did they come from out of the country? The energy, if you just watch, like even with basketball, you watch European basketball, they got flares in the building, they got the flags waving, they're singing their songs, they're chanting. The energy I've seen from European crowds, now granted, sometimes it can go a little bit too far. Too far.
Oh yeah.
But the energy I've seen from European fans and their sports is it's better than American sports. And now the reason I've heard that in part is because even though it's getting bad to where they're pricing out the real fan, right? The real fans are still able to go. And so they're able to bring that passion and energy. Whereas, a Chiefs fan, I mean, like we'll use the Chiefs. I've told this story before. Patrick Mahomes' first year starting, they played the Niners. I took my family to the game. We paid, now granted, we were in the nosebleed, but we paid $300 total right? Patrick has that great year. The next year, I said, hey, let's make it a tradition where our family will go and buy tickets and go to the season opener. And it was $300 a person. And it's
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
that it's been that. Now, great. It's not to say that at Arrowhead that you don't have real fans, because that we know we got homies that got season tickets, right? You have
yeah,
passionate fans, but still you have those people who sometimes I think you take that kind of stuff for granted when you have those season tickets. Like you enjoy it, but it's just, it becomes more, it feels more of a privilege than it does, or it feels more like a right than it is a privilege. And I just think
yeah.
you still have a bunch of people who love their teams and who go hard for their teams. And I definitely want to go to a game in person just to experience that energy. I would love to go to a Forest game. But I'll go to any EPL game, to be honest. Although I told Tony, I was like, when we looked at West Ham ticket, he was like, don't even waste your time. Don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, I would love to go to any, whether it's a top of the table team or just a team that's hanging on from being relegated. I would love to go to one and just take in the atmosphere, man, and soak it all up. So yeah, man.
Well,
Y'all listen to what y'all think.
before we switch the topic, man, I know that this is how I feel, but I just want to let you know once again, man, like there's not a lot of people in life, that would turn around and, spend their hard-earned money, to fly, 8,000 miles, to go support, a friend of theirs. And like, I can't thank you enough, like, for your support. And it goes so much more beyond like you just flying out there and watching battle rap, like people don't realize that, like anybody that pops up to an event with me is an extension of me. You know what I mean? Like whether they want to go get drunk at the bar or whether they want to go over here and holler at some girls or whatever they want to do, however it is, your friends and people that you bring, and like having you around and just knowing how of a high character person you are and how much I appreciate you. And just like there's no, I know A1's good. He's good somewhere. Not only is he good, he's probably over there making me look way better than I actually am. You know what I mean? Like as a friend, and it's just like, the one gentleman that we met the night before with the Africa chain that, or whatever, like I know that you spoke to him a little while, and like I could just see like, just how good of a person you are and just how genuinely you enjoy being there and talking to people. Like I can see that rub off onto, meeting new people and different things like that. So I just really, really appreciate that. Like anybody that's ever, Uncle Ra and the battlers and everything like that, when they meet you, they're just like, yo, and I mean, the quote real deal, he's like, A1 is just such a good guy. At some point, it just starts making us feel like shitty people. He's like being around them. He's like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But like, I just wanted to say once again, not only thank you for just showing up to support, but thank you for, being yourself, and like, all of our friend group knows what kind of high character person you are. But it's just, it's a blessing to be able to travel with somebody that, I don't got to worry about bailing out of jail, So,
now let's be clear. There are very few people in A-Ward's circle that he has to worry about bailing out of jail. Like there's one in particular who I won't say no names, who he might have to bail out of jail. And you know who you are because you've been there
tonight.
You've been there. But I appreciate that, man. And once again, I mean, Mutual Admiration Society. I do want to say I'm proud of you.
Thank you,
journey has been one. It's been a wild ride. And again, I told you, I said, whenever the first time you step on that stage, like I'm going to be there. And I wanted to make sure I honor my word, man.
Tell Tierra that Amsterdam called and they want to book me. So if you want to go with me to the next one, the guy that battled Disaster, I guess Disaster battled him in Amsterdam the night before he battled Quill. And so the guy from Amsterdam calls and he's like, yo, what can we do? Me versus you. I'm like, hey, let's set it up. So, oh, wait, that's crazy. I mentioned Amsterdam and Los pops up. Okay. All right. I see. Amsterdam's. Amsterdam's famous for.
Yeah. Hey, last thing I'll say about that. First, shout out to George. That was a young man we met at By the Pound. chopped it up with him after at Summer Madness as well. Shout out to Jerry, right? Jerry came through.
Jerry, yes.
From
Jerry pulled up from Ireland. I know you got to talk to him for a while too. He's another solid dude, man. Just a high character dude.
Everybody can't be. Listen, Los. I'm saying maybe you get to go to Amsterdam, Los. Maybe you go to Amsterdam and you can one up me. You can one up me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Irish pub we went to. We had a great time there.
Yeah, that was a cool spot.
Karaoke, singing karaoke. You know, yep. I'll leave that one story. That'll be between us. Anyway,
I did have to coach A1 up, Los. I know if you would have been with me, you would have known. You know, the bouncer, he was from America, so he was very excited to see us all there from America. And he comes up to the bar and he's like, "All right, I got all of them a drink on my tab. Cool, get a drink." A1's like, "I'm not drinking. I'll just have a water." Boom. I look at A1. I said, "Bro, when somebody's buying, get the drink, man. Like, you could have gave me the drink. You could have got a shot." And he wasn't watching us drink it. You can still get a water, man. And so I had to coach A1 up a little bit on bar etiquette. You know, when somebody offers, man, go ahead and get that drink, man.
I got you next time. Yeah, man. But shout out to the bar. The bar was dope, man. Hey, listen, I think I did see a soft serve ice cream. This Lo says A1 probably wanted ice cream. There was a soft serve ice cream place somewhere in London that I saw, and it said soft serve on the actual building. So anyway, but yeah, shout out to London, man. So let's turn the page. Y'all let us know if y'all watch Summer Madness. First of all, you can still go get the VOD. Go to watchmetalive.com. Get the VOD. You can go check out all the performances before they hit the app. And also, if you do not have the URL TV.tv app and you want to see A Ward versus T-Top, then you got to get the app because all the battles live on the app. You can't copy respect. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that was my little spiel for URL. All right, so let's get into some college football real quick. So I know you got another show to do, so we only got like maybe 10 minutes. This is gonna be rapid fire.
Yeah, 15, 20, 15 probably. Yeah.
Got a couple of banger top 25 matchups, man. You got Penn State versus Oregon down 7:30 p.m. A night game, a rare night game, by the way, going down in the Big Ten. So who you got in this matchup? I didn't know Oregon was number 6.
I'm taking Penn State. I haven't followed much of Oregon so far, so I don't know who's the quarterback. Who did they replace Dylan Gabriel with?
Dante Moore was a young man. Notre Dame was thought to be a silent commit to Notre Dame. He ended up committing to UCLA. He was there for a year, left UCLA, transferred to Oregon, sat for a year while Dylan Gabriel started. Really good quarterback, man. Really, really good quarterback. Okay. He's getting some buzz.
I just feel like James Franklin wins these games, and then he doesn't win the ones later. I feel like early in the season he might pick up a big win, right? No. They call him none of the big games.
They call him Big Game James to poke fun at him. Big Game James is a That's a pejorative. That they're.
Did you see they're doing the whiteout? They're doing the whiteout too at Penn State.
Wait, is the game? Did I screw it up?
Oh, is it at Oregon?
Yeah, you're right. It is. I'm sorry. The AP does it weirdly.
Yeah.
So it is at Penn State. So night game, whiteout. That's a huge listen for Dante Moore. That is a huge test for him. He's a first-year starter, even though this is his second year in the program, third year in college football. This is his first major test on the road to Penn State, night game and whiteout. So that is huge. That is a huge game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Penn State. So I know that's probably a little reach for James Franklin, but I'm taking Penn State.
I mean, at some point he's got to win one of the big ones. Let me just to illustrate, drive the point home here. James Franklin top 10 record. It's not going to tell me, is it?
Yes, ChatGPT.
He is 4-20 against top 10 teams. 4-20 against top 10 teams, 16-28 against teams ranked in the top 25. So yeah, you can see why.
Wait a minute, is that just at Penn State or is that all time?
That is pretty. It's all time, but you got to remember he was only at
that's
Vanderbilt for a couple of years, though. He was only at
Yeah,
Vanderbilt. He
but
wasn't
he
at Vanderbilt
played.
that
He
long. Though.
never won any at Vanderbilt. Like he didn't win. He was 0 and probably 10. He played for Alabama every year. He played Georgia. He played, like 10 of them joints are that,
No, I think I appreciate you trying to shoot him some bail, but I don't think that is the case either. I don't think he was at Vanderbilt long enough. He's only at Vanderbilt for 4 years. So okay,
like
so even 11, 12. No, I'm sorry, 3 years. He was only at Vanderbilt for 3 years. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't okay, maybe 5 of those, 6 of those.
You're right. Maybe 5 or 6, maybe.
But the rest of that is all Penn State. So yeah, he is not. I guess at some point you got to break through, right? I know he thought last year was going to be that against Notre Dame, but maybe this is it. So I'm going to take Oregon. I'm going to take Oregon and go on the other side of that. I am a believer in Dante more than I am. I can see the Drew Aller. I'm more of a believer in him than Drew Aller. Drew Aller has not been great. But this is his opportunity. If he's going to make a move up draft boards, this is the game where it has to start for Penn State. Let me just check one quick before we jump to the next.
Also, could be a Heisman game for him too.
Yeah, maybe. Let me just look at the rest of their schedule. I want to see if they got Ohio State. So they got Oregon to this week, then UCLA, then Northwestern, then Iowa, and then they got Penn State, Indiana, back-to-back weeks, and then they close out with Michigan State, Nebraska, and Rutgers. So he's going to if this is going to be the start of the Drew Aller Heisman campaign, he's got to kick it off here and then follow it up at Ohio State and then home against Indiana. So we'll see. We'll see what he's got. Yeah. All right, let's go to our next top 25 matchup: LSU versus Ole Miss. This is at Ole Miss. 3:30 kickoff. Maybe
this is the take the over game.
You think so? Well, I know that Ole Miss's quarterback got banged up, so I don't know what his status is.
I'm gonna take Ole Miss. Honestly, I'm taking an upset, and I'm just taking them because I think LSU's been playing with fire with no offense lately. You're scoring 20 points after your defense gets 5 interceptions against Florida. You're like even the first game of the year, I think it was who they played.
Clemson.
They didn't play very well until like the fourth quarter. The first half they were down, and so I'm just saying I've seen a few weeks where LSU just hadn't been able to put it together, and so I'm gonna go ahead and take the Ole Miss upset, especially since Lane Kiffin's daughter's, dating a linebacker for LSU.
Hold on.
That was the take the over joke. Did you see it where Lane Kiffin responded to it?
No.
And it was like Lane Kiffin's daughter is in a relationship with Weeks, the starting linebacker for LSU. And she had posted this week like a picture of them, and then Lane Kiffin responded and said, "Take the over," basically we're about to run it up, but yeah. So yeah, I'm taking the Ole Miss with the upset.
At first, I thought you were talking about Harold. Oh gosh, Harold Perkins Jr. And I was going to go, oh really? Okay. Shout out to Austin Simmons. He's the starting quarterback for Ole Miss. He is off the injury report, so he will be available for the game. I'm going to go with LSU. This is going to be the true test to me if LSU's defense is legit. Like I said, after week 1 or week 0, K. Klubnik has not been impressive to me in his entire college career. And I just thought that he is dragging down that entire Clemson offense. And it seems that I was right because they're now 1-3. And they're, for the first time ever, probably since he first started, there are truly questions about Dabo Swinney's job security at Clemson, though I can't see him firing. The other big top 25 matchup is Bama going to Georgia. That's a night game, 7:30 ABC. This is a great slate of big matchups, by the way.
Yeah, I'm taking Bama. I think that I'm taking Bama solely because Georgia beat Tennessee. I think that Georgia's going to turn around and lose to Bama. And it's going to bother the hell out of me. That's the thing. That's what's going to happen.
Go Dogs. Also,
Stop.
also
I will
another is
I will shut this thing down. But you know what's crazy? We had Go Dogs, and then we had an elephant. So you know what? Like this matchup has two inside joke stories from this past weekend. But Go Dogs is bro. Oh man. All right. Anyway, maybe another day. I'll tell that story another day when we got more time.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna take Georgia. Home game, big game for Ty Simpson. I just think that Georgia's defense is going to do enough to slow down Bama, and that's going to be what their second loss. So, I think that Gunnar Stockton is emerging. He's getting better. He's not perfect, but he is getting better. And I think that Bama, I think a running quarterback is going to be an issue for them. You saw that in the game against Florida State, and I think the Georgia running game is going to do enough to neutralize that defense and get them the W.
Yeah.
I think that's it for like kind of big. So we'll go with home team for you. You got Tennessee. You're going to be at Mississippi State this weekend. That's a 3:15 kick on the SEC network.
Yeah, man. This is this is exactly the same type of situation as last year Arkansas game. You know, where we come out the gate, we're undefeated, we're looking really really good. You know, we go to Arkansas. And drop the ball, right before I think the Alabama game was it? No, maybe something like that. But yeah, I haven't watched much of Mississippi State, so I don't know what kind of undefeated they are. But I know that they got that big win against Arizona State. Now I don't know how Arizona State's looked since then either. You know what I mean? So it's like it could be one of those, LSU got a big win against Clemson. Oh, how big is it? Syracuse just beat them. Tennessee freaking dropped 50 something on Syracuse, so you never know like how big these early wins are. So but I just know that like they run a up tempo fast, and they're not as bad as what was expected. I watched SEC Network before the season, and I think their over under on total wins for the year was at 3.5. And so maybe 4.5, but yeah. So there was definitely like going into this year, Mississippi State was not supposed to be good at all. Like Horace, like bad.
So interestingly enough, if Mississippi State is going to make the college football playoff, and I get we're a long way away from that, but this could be the game if they were to win. This could be the game that kickstarts that run for them. They got Tennessee this weekend, A&M on the road. After that, I get Florida's down. But then they got Texas. 2 weeks after that, they got Georgia, Missouri, who's ranked, and they close with Ole Miss. So they have, assuming that the teams that are still ahead on the slate continue to take care of business, they're going to have a lot of opportunities to rack up ranked wins and a couple of top 10 ranked wins if things fall their way. So very interesting. They beat Arizona State by 4. That game went down to the end. I think they scored a late touchdown to seal that victory. They played a couple of nobodies in between that, Alcorn State and Northern Illinois, so a couple of tune-ups to get ready for Tennessee. I'm rolling with Tennessee. I like Joey Aguilar. And I think that hopefully is your guy coming back from injury, the cornerback?
He'll be back for the Oklahoma game, I think they said. So I think it's still 2 more weeks out or something like that.
2 more weeks. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it's good. At least those young cornerbacks are getting tested. They'll be battle tested, and that'll help them as they continue to go on later in the season in SEC.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say for my home squad, Notre Dame, they're going to Arkansas. First time.
Yeah,
ever.
I saw that. I was shocked. I didn't expect that, man. Honestly, if we didn't just get back from London, like that's a short drive. That would have been a cool game to drive down to. Yeah, it's like 3.5, 4 hours, bro.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep, me either. When I saw that, I was like, oh man, I was like, that'd have been great.
Dang, I cashed in on my husband trips to go to London, and so yeah, I am.
See you in 2026.
See you in 2026. The only way I'm getting outside is if you battle Jesus, like Jesus the Christ has to return. That's the only way I'm getting outside this house to watch you battle in person.
Well,
again.
Apparently he already did, and I haven't seen a Mormon in like a few days, so I don't know. I haven't seen a Mormon in a few days, so I don't know who got it right.
That is dumb funny. But yeah, but I'm going to take Arkansas in this game again, just because the defense, they haven't figured out how to stop anybody on defense. They gave up 30 to Purdue. Granted, the last touchdown for Purdue was a garbage time touchdown with the second stringers in. So they gave up 23 to Purdue, who I don't think is very good. Offensively, Notre Dame, if honestly this feels like it harkens
This is
back
going
to
to
the
be a
Brady
high
Quinn days.
scoring game.
Yes, because Arkansas can't stop anybody either. They just had a game that they blew
Memphis,
late that they should have won.
32-31, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a back and forth affair. And I just think that this defense is just too porous. What's the young man's name? Leonard Moore, who ironically enough, my cousin goes to church with his parents in Texas. Leonard Moore, their best cover corner, who's probably going to be a first-round draft pick next year because he's only a true sophomore. He's got an ankle injury, high ankle sprain, I think. I don't think he's going to play. And so, the other corners are either not been up to snuff or super young, similar to Tennessee. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to stop Taylor Green, who's a mobile quarterback. So they got to deal with that on top of the fact that he can sling that rock.
Yeah, he can.
High scoring game, but I'm going to go Arkansas. Like I said, I thought Notre Dame would lose 4 games. And I think they're going to lose at least a minimum of 4. All right, let's switch to the NFL real quick because I know you got to get out of here. Let's just go straight to the hometown. Chiefs, Ravens. Who needs this game more, KC or Baltimore?
Chiefs need this game more. Yeah, Chiefs need this game more. Baltimore is still in a division with Jake Browning and the Browns and Aaron Rodgers. So, there's a lot of football left to be played. And, right now the Chargers are walking off with, the division. And the Broncos don't look too bad either, and everybody's healthy over in our division. Like the Chiefs need to win, and it's just something about 1-3. You know what I mean? It's just something about 1-3, like they can break the spirit of a locker room. You get to 2-2 after 0-2, and you're like, look, guys, told you, trust the process, stay the course. We got these guys feeling, we're gonna get some guys back. We're good, man. You get to that 1-3, yeah. It could break some of the spirit. I know that the culture in the Chiefs and everything is, but it's going to be rough if they sit at 1-3. So it means more to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chiefs, for all the reasons you mentioned, right? Like they're in the division, they're already dropped 1 game in division, and they're already 2.5 games down when you factor in the tiebreaker for LA. So they gotta rack up wins against interconference opponents. So you got to beat them. You got to beat the Bills. And you got to maintain pace and try to keep pace with the Chargers as long as they're undefeated. So this is a big matchup. Hopefully Xavier Worthy coming back. Listen, man, that Ravens defense has been really bad. I think they've given up the most points in the league thus far. It's either the most points in the league or it's the most yardage in the league. I think it's the most yardage in the NFL right now. And so hopefully getting Worthy back, getting him in the mix, adding him, I think they need to put him and Thornton on the field at the same time. Make the safety pick their poison. You can't double both of them, and hopefully that frees up some of the underneath stuff, frees up Hollywood Brown, frees up Juju Smith-Schuster, and hopefully they figured out a little bit of something with their running game against the Giants last week. But hopefully they can continue to work on with Pacheco and Hunt, and having the home field advantage would be the thing that pushes them over the top. If you're Baltimore, I don't know what you do if you're down 1-3 though. Right. Again, I get it. Mentally, they're a team that has had trouble keeping it together when things get tight, even within the game. Derrick Henry fumbled last week. You see him throwing his helmet around, throwing a little bit of a tantrum. So, I mean, again, like they're a team that 1-3 shouldn't be the end of the world to them because of their division. But you do wonder if they can keep things together, given how they responded to adversity in the past. So, we'll see what happens, man. I'm trying to think. There's really. Tonight, you got Cardinals and Seahawks. Family man-o-meter. Just be a family man tonight. Be a family man. Cardinals and Seahawks, Actually, I take that back. Walk through. See what happens in the second half. If it's interesting, sit down. You can ignore the family for a little bit and watch the game. But, anyway, I know you got to get out of here. We're at an hour anyway, so – we appreciate y'all watching, man. Let us know what y'all think about any of the topics we talked about. Please remember you can check out It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice. Wherever you get the good podcast, search for It's a Black and White Thing. Hit the like button. Not hit the like button. Give us 5 stars. Leave a comment there. hit the like button and the subscribe button at Brains and Bars on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter at Brains and Bars. Until next time, it's been a black
and white
thing, man. I'll holler at y'all next week. Y'all be
yes,
easy.
sir.
I'll holler at you, man. Safe travels this weekend because I know you're going to be out of town. And also, good luck in a couple of weeks. Jada Nightwing just announced on, I forget the name of the card. Forgive me, TBL.
Exodus.
Thank you. All right, bro. I'll holler at you, man. Y'all be easy.
Take it easy. Thanks, Sauce. Be easy, bro.
Shout out Uncle Rob.